then I heard my writer in the background. She goes, "So they're kind of like dirty jeans." And I was like, "Wow, what?" She goes, "Dirty jeans." I said, "That's beautiful because when you have the concept of a dirty gene, it's basically, remember, genes have jobs to do. Every single gene has a job to do, and many times multiple different jobs. And so when a gene gets dirty, it can't do its job very well."
Welcome to this week's Wellness Wednesday. And this week we have an excerpt from my interview with Dr. Ben Lynch as part of the Fatigue Super Conference. Dr. Lynch is the author of the best-selling book, Dirty Genes. And Dirty Genes, I think, is an important book because what it does is simplifies ideas around genetics and epigenetics in a way which become then accessible and usable for people that don't have kind of hardcore chemistry and science brains. One of the biggest misconceptions around genetics is that our genes determine our life. Our genes do influence our life, but the way we live our life has an enormous impact on how our genes are manifested, what's turned on, what's turned off, and really the kind of our lifestyle and the way we live is often more important than the genes themselves. And that's what we start to open up in this excerpt from my interview with Dr. Lynch. You can watch the full interview as part of the Fatigue Super Conference. But here is Dr. Ben Lynch explaining what he means by dirty genes. I mentioned your book, Dirty Genes, in the introduction. I think probably the simplest way to start to just open this up a little bit is to give people a bit of a sense, what are dirty genes? And I think we can come into a bit of how that then relates to fatigue.
Yeah, great point. My granddad always told me, he goes, always define what you're talking about before you start talking about it. So let me give you a bit of history on the name of Dirty Genes first. When I was working with my team to get the book written, I was really pushed to call it the 7 Deadly Genes. That was going to be the name of the book, seriously. And I was like, well, they're not deadly genes. You have these genes. I mean, there's some benefits, there's some weaknesses, and it's not like all doom and gloom. And they said, well, it's going to be a really great title. You know, a lot of people will pick it up. And I was like, well, a lot of people are going to be scared and not want to talk about it. So I said, well, look, genes have jobs to do. And the genes that we're talking about in this book are not going to kill you if you have them. There are genes which, if you have, they can kill you before you're even born. That's true. But these genes, they don't kill you. They may increase your behavior to be not ideal. They could actually make your mood a bit better, actually, at times. But that improved mood could actually lead to anxiety. And then there's other genes which may, make you more susceptible to reacting to certain foods, but at the same time, they can clear infections in your gut. So then I heard my writer in the background. She goes, "So they're kind of like dirty genes." And I was like, "Wow, what?" She goes, "Dirty genes." I said, "That's beautiful because when you have the concept of a dirty gene, it's basically, remember, genes have jobs to do. Every single gene has its job to do, and many times multiple different jobs. And so when a gene gets dirty, it can't do its job very well. And the good news is with a dirty gene, you can clean it up. So Alex, hold the book up for a second, please. So look at the cover there.
I just need to speak because it's gonna jump based upon voice. So if I just hold it up and don't say anything, people aren't going to see it. But.
Yeah. So if you look at the cover, it's part of the cover is dirty, and the bottom part is clean. And my wife came up with that, where you can just wipe your genes clean. And so, but it takes effort, and it takes lifestyle, and it takes listening to interviews like this to get you going. But it's a good thing to understand that you actually in charge of how your genes are functioning for the most part. The day-to-day genes, not your eye color. But so it's supposed to be an empowering thing. So dirty genes is basically a gene that's not functioning well.
And it's by the way, it is a fantastic title, and it's a very well designed book because it's been sat on my bookshelf with a whole load of other books I've been researching. It's one of the ones that kept catching my eye. So great job on that piece as well. One of the quotes that really jumped out at me from the book, and this is just kind of broadening this a bit to the idea of epigenetics. You wrote that, yes, your genes write your life memo, but what they write is largely up to you. And I thought that was great. So maybe say a bit about the role that we can play in terms of how our genes actually manifest in our life and our health.
Well, let's say you make it, everything that you do is a choice, right? You can say, well, not really, but ultimately it is. So when you choose to wake up in the morning or how you go to bed, these are all choices. The next movement, the next word that comes out of your mouth, most of these are choices. So if you choose, let's say your kid leaves a Lego on the floor and you step on it and you yell obscenities and scream and start throwing the Legos around the house, well, what's going to happen is you're going to be turning on certain genes that are increasing production of stress neurotransmitters, flooding your system with cortisol, and starting to sweat, and your detoxification system's going to shut down. Let's say you just ate a meal, your digestive system's not going to be working very well, so now the food's just going to sit in your gut and rot. And meanwhile, you're all flared up and crazy. And meanwhile, your kids' genes who are listening to this are also getting dirty because now their cortisol is up and now their neurotransmitters are up. Their digestion is off. Whereas on the flip side, if you step on a Lego and you're like, ow, dang, that hurt. And you say, kid, come here, son, come here and step on this Lego. Ow, yeah, it hurts, doesn't it? So, let's try picking up the Legos and putting them over here. And next time when your friends or we come walking through or you come walking through, it's not going to hurt. Okay, thank you. So now your genes are calm and collected. Your digestion is still good. You've made a different choice. Same scenario, different choice. So I really want people to understand, because we've never been taught this. We've never been taught that what we do on the outside is really impacting on the inside. And so that is what Dirty Genes is all about, is understanding at the genetic level, every single thing that you do throughout your day and night, throughout your life, is turning on genes and turning them off. And it's creating more work for your body or less work. And so the less work you put your body through, it's like having a really, really good teammate or a very good employee who you do not overwork, and they're always going to perform. But as soon as you start giving them a whole bunch of extra work and work that's outside of their scope, work is going to start sliding, and the company as a whole is going to slide down as well. It's the same with your body.
And I think for those of us in the functional medicine world, the idea that we can have an impact on gene expression is not such a new idea, although some of the ways that you explain this process and the identification of some of the genes that we can do, I think is quite revolutionary. But for those outside of the kind of functional medicine world, just even the idea that your genetics don't determine your destiny, I think is quite revolutionary, because I think when people say, oh, well, that's genetic, what they're generally saying is, well, therefore you are powerless as to the impact this is going to have on your life.
That's right. And I got really, really excited about the whole field of epigenetics, first from Dr. Bruce Lipton. That I got really excited from his work. That really opened my eyes. And then I got even more excited when I watched, and I talk about it in the book, Dirty Genes, The Tale of Two Mice, when these mice were genetically bred to have diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. All three things that people are trying to stay away from, and they're scary as well. And these mice were genetically bred to get those conditions, so science can then try certain things to, treat the cardiovascular disease. So they were designed to fail. But this one researcher was like, well, all right, well, let's try something. These mice have these genes, genetics that are dirty, and let's try to clean them up a little bit by giving them specific nutrients to help support their methylation. She did that, and they never got those conditions, any of them. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. So, when that was proven in a lab, I was like, that is really cool. And it was really interesting because at the end of her paper, she's like, well, we don't really know what to do with this information. I was like, I do. We apply it right now.
I hope you found that interesting. you can watch the full interview as part of the Fatigue Super Conference. You can still buy the recordings at fatiguesuperconference.com. Tomorrow here on Everyday Alex, it's Thoughtful Thursday. And for this week's Thoughtful Thursday, I wanted to develop a little bit on something I touched on in last week's episode. I want to talk about courage. And I want to talk about courage as being a decision that we make. Often people think that courage is something that either we have or we don't have. And I very much believe that courage is a habit, isn't a decision. It's a habit and a decision. And that's what we're going to get into tomorrow here on Everyday Alex.